You are now live with Dylan Kimlin.
Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Dylan Kimlin here, and I have a wide variety of guests for our discussion today on a topic that I feel is probably not really talked about. We, in Australian Pickleball media, and I'm to blame for a little bit of this, we barely get any perspective of our women players in the scene. So today I've got a bunch of different players from different paths, different scenes, and different experiences that we're going to jump in and have a bit of a chat about just their general point of view in the Australian Pickleball scene. It's going to be a lot of fun. As always, if you haven't yet, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, as well as my Instagram and Facebook pages. Ladies, if you want to plug your own social media, go for it. But let's get underway. Our first person here in the booth, looking super intimidated, is none other than superstar Ellen McDonough. Ellen, could you give us all a little bit of an idea of who you are?
Right. Firstly, my name is Ellen McDonough.
We started with a...
I started playing pickleball probably just over 2 years ago. The first tournament I did was actually QPC 2 years ago, which was all indoors at Moray Field. Massive drive up there, but we didn't know any better, and it was all indoors. And finding partners and people to play with is hard when you're really new to the sport and don't know anybody. It's great to have people like Vin in the sport because he tries his best to set you up with paddles, people to play with, and, you know, just people to practice with. But I remember we just played, 3 to 3.5, whatever it was back then. But we managed to watch the finals, and we got to watch Leona and Huynh play on the centre court, and Deb Rossi and Ben Costin played together. And all of us being newbies were like, oh my goodness, these people are amazing. So it's really awesome to get to play with these people that we used to watch 2 years ago. I think the sport has changed a lot, like even in 2 years. Like 2 years ago, the average age probably was a bit older. I think in the last year, especially, I think last year there were quite a few new people leaving tennis, and especially in the Gold Coast, I think there's a whole bunch of them that are doing uni and come back from America from tennis and whatever they've been doing, that they've moved into pickleball. So that has definitely transformed NPL and MLP a lot, and we'll see a lot of them coming through, which is very exciting because we're seeing more women come through. And I think maybe one of the things we might talk about today is the lack of women in sport. That's probably enough about me for now.
Who have you played for?
Oh, right. Okay. Okay. So last year I was very excited. I did play for NPL. I played Parrots for 2 seasons, and it was really amazing just to get selected. And I think with the Parrots, we made a big effort of actually having weekly training. And I think the training, because some of us were very new to pickleball in teams, the training was just really just probably, I wouldn't be half the player I think I would be today if it wasn't for Deb Rossi and Jane kicking my butt and helping me play. And even Coco came one day there in Stafford to show us how to play singles properly. So,
oops, sorry, I apologise.
Get our ground strokes right. So I think maybe that's one thing that the teams, like MLP, you have people from all over the place in one team that you don't really get to play together or practice together. I think maybe there's something that people can work on in the future is getting people in teams from the same area so that you can practice. Because I think the practice and drills, especially if you have someone new that you want to train and improve, the practice I think is really the big thing. Because playing a match every month or 2 months against team people, it might improve you, but it's the weekly practice and playing against people that are better than you. Like with the Parrots, they always invited someone better, and you know, we had Grace and Annalise that joined us, and they both hit the ball so hard. The first time I played against them, I was like, oh my goodness, these two hit the ball extremely hard. But it helps you, you know. So I think that's something that should maybe be encouraged, is especially with the young ones, team practice.
And that is a great segue, Ellen, regarding practice, as one of our other players in the booth practices religiously, none other than Leona Huynh, who frequently is posting on social media with her partner, Tan. And it's fair to say, Leona, you probably win majority of those battles.
Maybe, maybe not.
No, be honest. We all love...
I only post up highlights, okay?
Yeah.
The ones where you win.
Yeah. The ones that I win.
So, Leona, similar to you, you've obviously had a long career. Run us through it.
Sure. So my name's Leona Huynh. This is my 5th year of pickleball. Gee, it sounds like a long time.
You're a veteran.
I'm a veteran. Gee,
Oh,
got
gee.
to that stage. Gosh. So I picked it up during COVID lockdown in 2020. Everything was closed. I used to play badminton quite competitively, but at that point I didn't play any tournaments for quite a few years and was just playing socials, going to the gym. My husband Tan, he was an avid BJJ, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu goer, so he was going there multiple times a week and everything was closed. And you mentioned Vin. So Vin was the one who introduced us to pickleball, so we're very grateful for that. And Tan's mum was also into pickleball. I think they only picked it up probably 5 months or 4 months before lockdown started. It's at the end of 2019 back in Nissan Arena they told us about. Wow. And, we fobbed them off quite a bit and go, well, what is this thing? It sounds like a silly name. And but anyway, during lockdown we had nothing to do, and we could exercise as, families. And we've been addicted ever since then. So, really grateful for the opportunities. I soon found out I was pregnant, so within my first month of playing pickleball. So, yes, Camila is our pickleball baby. So I played my first year, learning how to play as I was getting bigger and learning this new sport. And then I think as the restrictions started lifting, then there were some like club tournaments and things like that. Nothing huge because there was so much uncertainty. And then we found out that, we're all right at this thing. And at that time, there weren't that many people of our age. So I don't consider myself that young. We're in our 30s, okay?
21.
I mean, but at that time, we were considered, you guys are the real young guns. And I'm going, what? And also, I think you mentioned Deb earlier on too. So Deb and Sumi have hugely helped us with our games. At that time, we would meet up with them at the netball courts during the lockdown era, and they would teach us how to play, or we'd play lots and lots of games. So really, really grateful for their coaching at that time. Because at that time, I think in Brisbane there was only probably just the few, there were probably the 4 of us, plus a couple of others like yourself, who we.
Oh my God! Did you play pickleball?
Yes.
Wow.
Did you,
I
mate?
used, yes.
Apparently, yeah.
Allegedly rocks up at UQ.
Did you not know?
Oh yeah. I've
Albion
always
were the
given
days.
stick every time we're on.
Yeah. It was at
OG.
Albion every week. And anyway, going back so far. And then we kind of just fell into the whole tournament thing. Have a little baby. I have lots of wild stories. I was still breastfeeding at APC. So I would go pump.
That's commitment.
It was commitment. I don't know how I did it. Yep. So I would go.
You
and
did.
pump. Yeah. Well, we're talking about women in sport today, right?
Yeah.
So,
that's what it's about, right?
I don't know what was going on. I was like, I'll play. And I was like, how am I going to feed? I'm like, I'll just go bring my pump. And
Did you play 5 events? Did you play everything?
I played everything.
Yeah, right. That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, and then I'm like, when's my next game? I just got to go pump my milk, and then I go to the canteen and be like, this is my milk. Can you put it in the fridge for me? And the girl just looked at me like, what? I'm like, here, I've got everything. It's in a lunch bag.
And did you find people patiently waited for you? Because obviously you're breastfeeding and you had a...
I don't think many people knew.
Oh,
Maybe
really?
I should have been, I don't know, I just didn't really want to.
But nothing, no bad it was all great, everyone was sweet.
No, it was fine. And I think that's also how I stayed playing in the social scene as well. Everybody was so lovely, and they would say, bring her to the sessions.
Oh, that's so sweet.
So she would come, and I would in between games I'd be feeding her. Like, sorry, you go on, and then someone else might be like, no, you go, I'll play with the baby. So I'm so grateful for the pickleball community, and honestly, if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have kept playing. So then anyway, fell into the whole tournament thing. So obviously as bigger tournaments started rolling out again, and Tan and myself were like, oh, well, let's give it a shot. Managed to meet a lot of people, won a couple of titles, met Talia, reconnected with Talia. So I knew her back in our badminton days. So she played for South Australia. I played for Queensland. She was much better than me, though. So she doesn't really remember me. But
It's Talia Saunders.
Talia Saunders.
I mean, I don't think there is another Talia that plays in Australia at the moment.
I don't think
in
so.
SA anyway. But, sorry.
Don't think so.
No.
Don't think so.
Either way.
But yes, she, anywho, so that's a bit of my career. And then in terms of teams, so 2023 was when, at that time, they were called Pacific Pickleball League, which is now PPA MLP, the company. And so they introduced MLPA, which was extremely exciting because back then we're going, oh my God, Major League Pickleball, that's like the epitome of teams in the US. So what is this thing? And we just got asked to participate in this teams thing. I'm going, what? Me? And then and Tan as well. So we were really fortunate, and along with Coco, we got selected into the Melbourne Mavericks. So the inaugural
Mavs forever.
Wow.
Just putting it out there.
the inaugural 2023 MLP team. So there were only 3 teams at the time, with Brisbane Breakers as well as Sydney. So that was like the last bit of 2023. And then 2024, I played in NPL in season 1 with the Pythons. I didn't get selected for MLP. However, I did sub in for the Eastern Rush for a Brisbane event. So that was pretty exciting. It was, a series of unfortunate events for that particular team where they couldn't have their sub anymore. So on the day, I was literally just warming up for singles, and they go, can you sub in for us today? So,
And you had that miraculous win. It was like crazy hype.
Let's not talk about that dream breaker. It was really exciting to play that. I took a bit of a break from teams for the rest of that year, and then this year got selected to be the challenger captain for MLPA. So again, another evolution of MLP, which is very exciting. Representing Northern Crocs, and lovely Ellen was on our team as well, and
Yes,
Tan.
and that's what I forgot to mention. I was so busy with NPL, I didn't
mate.
even get
One
to
job.
MLP.
You literally had one job.
But yes, I was really excited to be selected, and we've had fun. We've done well. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good fun.
We'll
yes.
redo your interview shortly.
Sure, I'll start
Intro.
from scratch.
Because I have a thing for South Australians, so we picked another upcoming young star. So Hamish Bartos is also on our team.
Oh my
so
God, that boy can hit a ball.
He can hit very well, and he's such a lovely young guy. So it was very exciting to have a bit of a mix in our team. Experience and a bit of fresh talent. So I think that's where challenge is all about, and same with the NPL as well. So yeah, that's me.
Thank you. And over to the person next to you. None other than Coco.
Shut up.
No. And what should be quiet now?
Yeah, now I've got nothing to say. I would have
Have to
to
talk about
myself.
It's a hard-
I hate talking about myself.
It's the hardest thing to do. Just talk about yourself.
It's just boring. Like, honestly.
Says you, Coco.
Hello, Dylan. Hello, everyone. I am Coco, Lococo. I have been playing for just over 3 years. So I was introduced to the sport from AKA Blondie, who is Tina Bianchi, the gun from Victoria, who called me up and said, mate, go and try this sport. It's called pickleball. I went, that's a stupid name. That sounds stupid. Anyway, she's like, go try it. It's amazing. I went and had a hit. I said, mate, there is nothing like that in Queensland. Little did I know that obviously the best people at that point all lived in Queensland. So I rocked up to a social session, and they said to me, no, and like, you need to go to an advanced session the next day. And they said, but whatever you do, don't tell them you're a beginner. I said, but I don't know how to score. All the rules. I don't know anything. Like, they're like, just go. It'll be fine. So I rock up, and I'm not a good liar. Just FYI to everyone out there. I cannot lie. And so I rock up, and Alison bails me up at Albion and says to me, like, well, I haven't seen you here before. Like, what are you doing? And like, question after question. And I can't, what am I going to do? So I said, I'm a beginner. Well, she launched. and gave me a 5-minute dressing down about how players, it's important. Anyway, it was a very long conversation that I took no part in. And when she finished, I said, "Can I speak now? Is that okay?" I said, "Look, if I'm here to learn, so if I could be competitive, if I can just let me have a go, and if I'm not, I'll happily withdraw, and I'll sit down and watch because that's how I learn." And she's like, "Will you do that?" I went, "Absolutely, please." Anyway, I was more than fine for the session. It was great. And they said at the end, "Are you coming back, Coco, next week?" I said, "Oh, that depends on your conversations." But we've been mates ever since. So that's how it all kicked off. Obviously fell in love with it. Never thought I would I'm from a very tennis background. Had an academy and stuff for 25 years, so I never thought that I would find a sport that I love more than. I never thought that was, tennis was always going to be for me, ever. And when I picked up a paddle, I went, oh my God, this is, and I'd never really, I'd never thought, I've tried lots of other sports, but I never thought this would be it. So.
And I feel the same.
Yeah.
I can't play tennis anymore with my shoulder, can't really serve anymore. But when you pick up that paddle the first time and it's like tennis, but not.
Yeah.
And you can play with a bad shoulder. I'm just so glad pickleball
Well, I step
exists.
on a court now, which is obviously my academy's no longer, I'm now full pickleball, but occasionally, I get clients still begging me. So I went and did a coaching session for them, and I stood, they went to the baseline and I went to the net and went, "Can you guys hear me okay?" It's so big, and I'm like, "You idiot, Coco, of course I can hear you." But yeah, and then it took me 5 minutes to get my rhythm back because obviously as a coach you've got to pinpoint where you need the ball, and my ball was whee! So learning that again. Then look, from that point, still love coaching. Then went and joined the MLP team. So got offered a position, not understanding at that point what it meant or what was going to happen, and then thankfully was honoured enough to play 3 seasons in a row for the Melbourne Mavericks in the Pro League, which was beautiful. And then from that, I got asked to do a lot of coaching, which I initially refused because I thought that I needed to learn more about the sport. I never want to offer something unless I can give value. And I felt like Jen Ramamurthy, if I'm being honest, took me under her wing and really helped me develop the pickleball brain and just the different things. Her knowledge is invaluable to me. I spotted that from the second I met her, and she helped me right through. And all the guys and helped me as well, but her more so. And then I met Wes Gableton in New Zealand, I think it was. We ended up having a chat, and I had no idea who he was. And he was like, "I wouldn't mind doing some clinics with you, Coco." And I'm like, "Do you coach?" He's like, "Yeah, a little bit." And I went, "No, yeah, right." He's such a muppet, right? So anyway.
Do you want to explain who Wes is?
Just Wes Gableton. Well, I'm about to. So I went inside, and all the other pros said to me, "What are you talking to Wes Gableton about?" I said, "Who's Wes?" And they said, "The man that you were talking to." I said, "Oh, he's a really nice guy." And they said, "Do you know who he is?" I said, I don't know. And they said, "He is the former #1 US player, and he's literally the best coach in the world, and he's in the Pickleball Hall of Fame." And my response was, "There's a Pickleball Hall of Fame?"
Fair question.
I didn't even know that.
I didn't know. I was like, "Oh wow!" So anyway, I went down. I was on the balcony, and he was down on court, and I went out and I went, "Oi!" and I called him a name, which I will not repeat. And he looked at me and went, Anyway, we hit it off straight away. I had no idea who he was, but we have become mates, and he's really helped me develop that coaching side of things as well. So very grateful for that. And then, of course, with that confidence and knowledge and backing, even for someone like him, I started coaching, and now I coach pro teams and all teams and do clinics, and it's great. And that's me in a nutshell.
Fair enough. I'll have that back.
No.
Not to mention one of the best female Australian coaches in pickleball.
Oh.
Yeah, we didn't mention that. We will get into the coaching aspect and probably the lack of female representation within the Australian coaching space. But our final speaker for today changing my camera over there, looking very shy in the corner. None other than one of our up-and-coming referees, Paige, and I always butcher your last name.
Prieditis.
There we go. So
you can say however you want, as long as you get the point across.
Is that South
How would you
African as well?
normally
Is that
pronounce
Greek?
Prieditis?
Oh, it is Latvian.
Oh, okay.
It's
definitely
Latvian,
not South
so.
African,
But I am an adopted Greek from the community.
Okay.
So got a lot of friends from the soccer community adopted us. So
Shout out.
shout out to the Olympic FC.
There we go. And Paige, you've obviously played for quite a while, but also refereed for quite a while. Have any of you ladies refereed before?
No
Coco
thanks.
has.
No,
Not
thank you.
officially, no.
No?
Oh, not yet.
Yeah,
Coco has officially, but really made them do it.
fair enough.
I like it. It's all about facilitating. It's all good.
At
So-
one point, I'm pretty sure I asked the school.
Oh, else the score. We all have our types of referee. It's all good.
They're like, Coco's reffing us. I'm like, not very well. Yes. Sorry.
So, Paige, do you want to give us a bit of an intro to yourself?
Well, I'm Paige Prieditis. I'm been on the pickleball scene, I think, now for a year and a half, so very fresh compared to my wonderful ladies in the room and, of course, Dylan. I got into pickleball. Grew up playing sport, loved volleyball, like that was my main sport, hockey. I'm still a hockey goalkeeper, but I just was struggling to have a bit of a community, and I grew up, when I played tennis when I was younger, and I really loved tennis, and I was never really great at it, but I just loved the ability to go to a court and just play with my friends, my family, and I wanted to find that connection again. I was looking up where to play tennis in Brisbane as a one solo person, and then suddenly an article came up about tennis players converting to pickleball. I was like, what is this sport? Like, who names pickleball? Like, this must be a joke. And so I look on Instagram, and actually a few Australian players came up. I think Mitch Hargraves, I think Coco, you might have come up as well.
No.
Maybe. I think the Mavs had come up from the MLP. And I was like,
media presence, Coco.
yeah. I was like, the MLP, the Mavs, and I was like, oh my God, matching shirts? This is a sport for me. I love
Matchy.
matching. And so I signed up for Brisbane Pickleball Club down at Mount Gravatt with Paul and fell in love.
Is that Paul Chambers?
Paul Chambers.
Shout out, Paul.
Yeah.
Shout out Paul. He really helped facilitate my love for the sport, and the crew in the Brisbane Pickleball Club really know how to just welcome people and make it fun for anyone, no matter your age or your gender, of course. And Paul really knew how to just put me on court and say, you know, give it to them. You know, I was a bit shy at first and didn't want to show off how I could actually hit, and then suddenly I got the nickname of No Mercy on court because I was taking out everyone left, right and centre. And since then I've moved to Beanley Pickleball Club as well with Nay Pink, who really, shout out Nay. She is
So
what
cute.
pickleball is. She is just so lovely and really has helped me become the person I am today within pickleball, and to respect everyone on court as a ref and a player. And then I'll go back to my reffing, but I play a bit, but I'm not as passionate about playing. I love it, but reffing has just, as soon as I'm at a game and I see it and I'm not reffing, I feel a bit of FOMO. Like I want to help. I want to be there. And so about a year ago, QPC, I signed up for a course. Jen Ramaffi was the facilitator, and Brian, he was so sweet, he was in the corner, and we just, a huge group of us. I do these in huge groups, and I was a bit nervous. I was probably the youngest by about 40 years, which is all good. So I was really nervous because sometimes I feel like people in the community can look down and be like, oh, what does she know? Like, she's a 20-year-old coming from nothing, like, she doesn't have the life experience to get into this game or understand how to official. But in other sports growing up, you're pushed to help official, like volleyball, you have to, the next game you're officialing. So everyone is pushed to do a course. I do a course to help grow the game, whereas sometimes I feel sometimes like pickleball, there isn't a push for people to actually ref and help support. It's rather, oh, why do we not have a ref for this game? Whereas the thought should be, how can I become a ref or how could I help facilitate other people reffing and help support this growing? Because without refs, there's not really a game sometimes, or you can have a game, but you get to some points and you need that other support person to be like, actually, you're wrong. The ball was out, and just to help simmer down some of the tension that can happen. Not that it always happens, but it has.
And I think that's why we need to give a big shout out to the refs, because it's a tough job. I know myself, I'd rather be playing than reffing. Reffing's not my thing, but I have all the respect in the world for the refs.
Absolutely.
They have a very tough job, and it's so easy for people to whinge and complain and talk about what they have missed. I don't think I could do a better job.
Yep. Yeah, we will dive into the referee space as well today, and it's a very fair point you bring up, Ellen, in that refereeing such an unsung hero role. As someone that's refereed myself, it's tough, but you're right. We do thank our referees for the effort they put into our sport. We're going to dive into our next topic, and it's siloed. So we're going to look at, first of all, your perspective of being a female as a player. So we can dive into that, just things you've noticed, your experiences overall, and then we'll get more individualised looking as a coach and also as a referee. So this is good. I think the Australian pickleball space, these are opinions we need to know about, like your perspective and experiences going forward. So regarding as a player being a woman in the space, what's it generally like from not only social, as we talked about with social play, but also tournaments? If anyone would like to start.
I think as a female, there are a lot of young females coming through at the moment, which is great to see. But I think up until recently, most sessions are men. I enjoy playing against men. They hit harder, the game goes faster. But if you do have 4 women on a court, the rallies do go on longer, and it is a different way of playing.
Is it? No, kidding. Depends who that woman is in court.
I mean,
if it's Leona, she'll belt the crap.
Back to
says Coco.
Says Coco. Body bag.
I'm not I body bagged someone the other day. Shush.
And I think that's why some of the women do hit hard, because we've only got men to play against, really. And I feel sorry for the men. There's quite a lot of them that can't find partners for mixed doubles. Dropping names, Josh Nipperus said he sends out like 20 texts before a competition, and he's very happy if someone says yes. It's just, and there are a lot of men going, well, I've got no one to play with, I'm not going to bother entering. And it's hard because it's probably more about a network of getting to know people. You have a woman over here that can't find someone, a man over here. How do you get people together to play? And I think there are a lot of women pre-getting married and having kids, they're going out and playing a lot. But I think once you're married with kids, sometimes you've got family structure that can help you. But then you've got a lot of women in the 50s past the kid era. And then the 50s, there's a lot of women playing. But in between, I don't know, do we need more support structure, getting women? I don't know what the answer is. And some of the sessions, like Jess Christie calls it a sausage fest. You're allowed to say that, but that's just what some of the sessions are, which we used to. But I don't know what the answer is.
I do know, like, from a socials aspect, a lot of my friends on the Gold Coast, they play socially. Like, they don't want to get better. They're just having fun. And I played university with them, and I was like, oh, come play tournaments. Like, we just don't feel the need to. Like, after about the age of 14, they sort of got to an age of, I don't need to compete. Like, my friends don't compete. We get into the cycle of, I'm just going to not play sport or just play for fun sometimes, just to have a muck around, or just hit the gym and Pilates. And that's their thing. And social's so fun. But getting the women into the tournaments, I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, because there's a lot of women playing socially and enjoying it once or twice a week, but it's getting them into tournaments and the network of getting to know people is,
Because it is scary sometimes. I get to sessions, and I think I used to do the UQ on a Thursday night, and after was like your Deb Rossi, your Jane, your David Richardson, and I'd be like, wow. I was like, they are elite. And I would feel so like scared to even join. I still don't, I would never even join the group yet because
it's intimidating,
right? Yeah, you're like, I'm just not good enough.
I think as a female, it can be intimidating. And I think that's where, and correct me if I'm wrong from a psych point of view, but I feel like women lack confidence when they come in and they're quite cooperative and they don't want to compete because they don't think they're good enough to compete in the space. So it's about allowing avenues and creating avenues that women can come in and play with women and then get the confidence in order to join an event. But women can be a bit different to men in terms of men are quite cutthroat, right? You put them on a court, they're like ready to kill each other, and that's great, and that's how they play. And then most women, not all women, but a lot of women like to step on a court and they want to be cooperative. And that's where the difference is. They want to make sure that everyone is happy and everyone is safe and they don't let their teammate down and everything's just like a group unit, a team unit rather than pitting against one another. So I think the mental aspect of how women approach sport is quite interesting. Do you agree with that, Leona, like from your perspective?
Yeah, I agree. And I think even from a personal perspective, because I'm in that demographic of married, having kids and didn't think I'd be competing. I mean, my own background, I did have a high-level competitive background, not professional, but, you know, relatively competitive in my younger, like early 20s. And, you know, when you start to get married and have kids, the last thing you think about is, I'm going to go and compete in a brand new sport.
Because I've got nothing
that
else
I picked up while pregnant. I'm going to turn pro.
I thought that was the pathway.
Exactly. Yeah. Why isn't anyone else doing that? No, but I think for me personally, the culture of pickleball is really unique in the sense that when I entered it, there was obviously the demographic was older. And there were quite a lot of older women in it as well. And just seeing how inclusive it was and how welcoming they were, like that really helped me. Because when I played badminton and we'd go to socials, like it's like a sausage fest essentially. You know, me and a couple of other friends would be the sole females in the group. And I think, I mean, there are older people who play badminton as well, but it does drop off a bit because I guess maybe there's other groups that I don't see anyway. But, I think the pickleball community, just that inclusivity that I really felt from the beginning in that social environment really helped. And then, you know, when the tournament started coming up, people go, oh, are you going to enter that? It's almost like, why don't you give it a go? And so for me, I felt like it wasn't that scary in the end because everybody was so welcoming anyway. But I can also understand there are quite a lot of barriers for people, you know, in my demographic, I suppose, you know, with kids and it's hard to get to sport and things like that. So I think back then because, you know, everybody at the session would go, bring your child, bring her. Well, you know, you can still play. And it was on the weekend. So that really helped me. And not to mention my own family, like my husband plays and my mother-in-law is very into it. She's in the reffing space too. So, you know, but probably a bit unique in that sense. We have a whole clan of people who also play and they're all very welcoming. So I think for a female, for me, that was really important.
And can I tell you, I was also pushing a pram. Yes. Down in Sydney for Beck Laley for her lovely child Grace, who I keep forgetting the name of every time I push the pram. But yeah, like that's what you do. So I'm coaching on the sidelines. I'm coaching the bandit. I'm pushing the pram. Everyone's like, Coco. I'm like, what? I'm just doing what's got to be done, man. Like, you know, she's crying. Like, you know, I've got to keep it. She's a very good baby. She very rarely cries. But point being is that, you know, like there is that support there. And then I could just palm her off. Beck's like, where is she? I'm like, oh, she's with such and such. Like, she's over there. So I think, like, there is that support there for women if they do want to come into the space, but they've also got to have the confidence. Like, you know, I guess they've had kids and I've not really looked at it from that perspective. Yeah. They've had kids and they're feeling like they're not as fit as maybe they used to be or they're not feeling confident as they used to be. And, yeah, I guess things change and it'd be nice to see them come back and play.
And the other
have a
thing
go.
is, like, there was a tournament I played about a month ago where there was a lady that had a sub for someone else who couldn't make it, and she was breastfeeding. We'll just had to wait for her to finish breastfeeding.
Yeah.
And when she had to go back on the court, someone would just take the baby, some random person, and the baby was handed around.
It's probably Coco.
And I suppose with the baby sleeps to be handed around, but when there's toddlers or 5-year-olds or 7-year-olds, it's harder to go to the courts. Like, what do you do with the toddler? And again, this is probably a long-term thing. Like, is there a play area? Maybe that if the woman or the parents are playing, is there an area that you can see
Might
your
be
kids?
Something that tournaments need to look into.
Yeah.
Essentially. Oh, I'm not kidding. I mean, you have a plan there, mate.
Yeah.
Let's face it.
Yeah, we'll be the first
You
to
were
sign up.
set.
Five
But,
there.
yeah, maybe
Enrolled.
that's something.
Yeah.
Like my quickest clinics that ever fill are ladies-only clinics. They feel like bang.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I think the
Interesting.
reason they do that is because they're all confident and calm and, you know, they're like, oh, okay, this is great. So one of the biggest clinics I have are usually women-only clinics.
Yeah. And I know that a lot of parents like the Stafford Council courts because
Yes.
you can
Don't
literally
say that on
see.
air, mate.
Well, you can see
Scrub
the
that.
kids. Yeah, sorry, don't
Yes,
go
no,
to
you
Stafford. But like Wakeley, for instance,
Yeah.
there's no toilets, no running water. The kids' park is behind a screen of trees.
Yeah.
So it's not, that's something else that I think needs to be thought about.
It is
too.
important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point. And yeah, I'll take that. Thank you.
I'll hand that back to
Thank you. Give me my microphone.
I
back,
also
Coco.
like the sausage fest, by the way, is sorry. It's always sometimes not bad. Like, I feel like I've gone to some sessions and I was the only female, and more recently I've realized how much confidence I've gotten from some of the guys. Like, they sometimes underestimate some women coming in. They're like, oh, can she like take it? And some of these sessions, I feel like these guys come up to me like, yes, Paige, what a shot. And like, they almost beef me up more than some of the women. I was like, I'm going to keep coming to these sessions. Like, you keep filling me up. I'm like a pro now. That's how they make me feel. And like, I don't want to like shit on some of the sausage sessions because men are important in the sport, but also women coming together is so important. But I hope when we do have women's sessions, we can bring that hype as well, because sometimes we can be a little humble.
I don't think the men do anything wrong.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's anything to do with that. I just think it's how women present and feel confident.
Yeah.
And that's all it's about. And that's not the man's fault. Like, they can't get in there and do anything for them. I mean, other than just, oh, that was a good shot or whatever. But, yeah, they're meaning no harm at all. So I think it's just, if we talk about getting women in sport, I just think that's a good lead-in way, and then introduce them.
And I think women generally overthink things more
Yes.
than men, and men are generally more confident than maybe sometimes they should be. But that's just the way it is, Yeah.
No, very fair point. I agree with that entirely. We just talked about bringing women into the space, bringing women into the referee space, Paige.
Yeah.
So can it be intimidating refereeing a men's gender doubles match?
When I started, yes. I would say, like most times in pickleball, it's the community that really helps support you. I've had Kylie Dunn and Mark Taylor really behind me, and it was that confidence of, oh, can I do this? And it's almost the fear of, oh, these men will like intimidate. But actually now reffing a lot more, I've realized they're not there to be aggressive. People just want to know, and they just want an answer, because you're so hyped up in the match and the point, and it's like, this is what they enjoy, this is what they're passionate about, and if you can't give them a straight answer, that's when they get a bit fired up, and if you can't make a decision. Whereas I know if I'm confident in myself and confident in my knowledge of the game, and I can give them the respect on court to say, this was the call, or no, sorry, that was wrong, or not even sorry, say, no, it was wrong, let's game on, let's keep going, and just keep facilitating the game. I think where the trouble can come as a female is the fear of, oh, what if I did the wrong call? But I know in like my experience, I know I've given the best call, the best judgment at that point of time. And if I'm that change, if you're just even a second of, oh, because when you can look back on it, like a memory, like, oh, was that? But it's like, this is for them. If I'm confident for them,
you can only do what you can do, right?
Yeah. And then
Like, that's it. At the end of the day, we can only achieve, what we can, and that's okay. And we will get things wrong. And I think for women, it's about forgiving yourself for getting something wrong, but not dwelling. And then thinking that you're not good enough because you made a wrong decision.
Yes, exactly. And I think to get more women in, it's even exposing them more. I said, not keep them away. Let's put them into those hard cases. Let's put them into the men's matches. And that was the best thing. Mark Taylor just pushed me in and was like, yep, go ref. And I was like, the men's matches? And I had already done the opens. I had done the MLP chat, Smash was... I reffed Leona and Tan in one of the team matches.
Minor league.
Was
that a nightmare?
Don't talk about that day. That was awesome. And it was so
Tell us more. Who argued? Was it Tan or Leona?
Difficult one to say. It was actually the best day to ref because it was my first experience in the pro, and the refs behind me were like, no, you've got this. And that's what I think, not even women, like sometimes young refs like myself need is like, expose yourself, just go and let's see what happens. And one moment I really am grateful for as not just a young ref and a player and wanting to grow my reffing experience was after the NPL. It was a rainy day and everyone was really like quite upset, some of the players, just because of the venue change and some of Div 2. But we all came together and we just finished really late. But at the end of
Are you nodding, mate? Because you're one of those people.
We know which day that was.
Yes, you know which day.
So rude. Like, Paige is doing her best, mate.
Yeah, I'm doing that. And we saw the anger, and but at the end of the day, Mark Taylor, Adrian Gray, they all both came up to me and were like, you did great. Like, that was, and they just really just helped supported. But they didn't even just say how good. They were like, you could work on this, this, and this.
But we love you.
We love you, yeah. And I was like, sometimes I feel like you can get the praise and everything, but just being the feedback of you can go this way and you can become a better ref and you've got this. Like, work on these and you'll be a level 3 in no time. Mm-hmm. I'm like, yeah, like I've got a pathway. I can take it just as these men can do. Yep. And I'm going to be a pro ref in no time.
Oh, it's inevitable, and that's good. And in regards to pathway, no, you're okay. I'm going to throw to you now. Pathways. So, being a female coach, so very similar in a male-dominated space within pickleball.
Yep.
How have you found it as an experience?
I'm going to go with, I think I'm a little bit unique. Slightly, only ever so slightly beyond normal, I've always had a reasonable level of what I can do and what I can't. And I never pretend to know what I don't know. And I'm always willing to learn. So I've found that while initially, sometimes I run into space. So obviously, I picked a team overseas and had 4 men that I didn't really know. The women are seemingly fine always. It's the men that you've got to sometimes massage and have a look at. And the easiest way I find to do that for me is hop on court with them. Yep. So initially I just hop on court with them and I have a chat to them and I make them feel seen and heard. And a lot of the time men just don't want to be told, which is fine. I respect that. Sometimes I don't want to be told either. So it's finding the balance between, well, I need you to work for me, but I also want you to be yourself as an individual. So I haven't found too big a struggle of anyone going, nah, I'm flat out not listening. Do I instantly get respect as a man would get stepping on court? Probably not. But I think that's across any sport, So I don't take that as, he doesn't respect me straight up. I'm just like, that's fine. In my view, this man, and I'm not bagging men, I love you, but I will happily help you if you want my help, but I'll happily leave you alone if you don't. So if you don't want my input, I'm cool with that. I don't need to assert myself into your psyche and make you listen to me or prove myself to you. It's fine. You just do what you're doing. Whereas I find women are a lot more receptive straight away. And in that coaching space, it's interesting. I was saying before, like in terms of confidence, if a guy walks up to me and tell me how good they are, regardless of whether that's tennis or pickleball, I'm like, oh, yeah, show me. Women will generally walk up to me and say how terrible they are, and terrible, and they can't hit a ball and they can't do this, and they'll get on claw and just blow that man away that told me how good he was. If a woman comes up to me and says to me, I can play, I go,
Wow.
you must be able to. Yeah. Very rarely do I get a woman come up to me and say, I'm a great player. Very rare. I would say that would happen once every 5 years. That's how rare. It's crazy, right? So for me personally, I've not found a big struggle, and I think it's to do with a bit of confidence. Like you've got to know what you know and accept what you know. You know, so I don't walk on the court meek and mild. I never have. I walk on the court with my little strut and what's going on, and I've not had an issue, thankfully.
Okay. Confidence. Did you, when you first started pickleball, did you feel confident when you started getting into the pro space, or did it take time to warm up?
I think it takes time, because the other thing is you play in a certain group and then you go stronger with that group, and then you get confidence. And then Vin will be like, well, why didn't you come join this group? And then you start at the bottom of that group and have to build your way up again. But I think Coco's right. Like, women do underestimate themselves, maybe because we're more critical of what we need to work on, whereas men more see, oh, I'm good at this and this, and maybe miss out what they need to work on. But I think confidence just comes with more playing and time on court. And I'm going to bring up something.
Oh,
Spicy.
Here we go. Is maybe we're talking about how open and everybody has been at pickleball, and everybody is. They look after children. Everybody's amazing at tournaments, but the clickiness of maybe groups that play together. And I understand that everybody only has so much time. You don't want to go on a Monday night, which is one of your few nights that you can play, and have a terrible night because there's been terrible players there. So there are a lot of groups that have, closed groups that have started up because you want to do the best you can. But I feel like all of us have a responsibility to at least have a group that you can invite a player that has a potential that you can grow. And I think, I know we have limited time, but it's a growing sport, and I think everybody out there, male or female, and particularly we want to grow females, we need to get females into female-only groups or mixed groups and grow them.
Can I just jump in on that, though?
Yes.
So I don't have any closed group sessions that I train on. People say to me, how do you train, Coco? And generally it's with beginners or intermediate players is where I do my training, because they don't even know where they're going to hit the ball. So I find that even when I train, and I don't care who's opposite me, I can definitely always find something to work on. I don't need to be against the best of the best or anyone that's better than me, or I don't need any of that. So it's also understanding that to actually train properly, you don't need the best player standing up there. You just need the ball coming back at some point. Yes, it's nice to have those games, and it's lovely to be on the court with Leona at her house. Just vying for an invite there, people. But
we're excited for the group invite.
Open invitation.
Arm's like, here's the key. So, it's just lovely to have, for me, a variety of. I don't consider that. I just think everyone should just be together. I think one in, all in is my philosophy always. So I'm not a believer in icing people out or not including people. And, someone even at the other event the other day, I said, come and have a hit. They're like, with who? I'm like, with me. They're like, you'll hit with me? And I'm like, yes. Do you play pickleball? Yes. Get on the court. Like, let's have a go. And they're like, oh, my God. Who does that? I'm like, we should all do that.
Yep, I
because
agree.
this is what it's about. It's about community. It's about being part of it. And if I can have a hit with you, why would I not? Yeah. What do you think, Leona?
Speaking of the click situation, spicy. Probably I'm the one here who's played the longest out of everyone. 5 years, yeah.
The OG.
The OG. Look, I think I've definitely felt it. I think especially as the pro scene has started to develop. right? I can put it out there, Tan and I initially in the first couple of years that we started, admittedly it was still quite small and it's a very, very different game compared to what it is now. We were relatively successful, don't get me wrong. And I think as it started to expand and people's values have shifted in terms of, okay, what are they in pickleball for? Initially, everyone's like, doing this for fun. It's a hobby. Oh, we get to compete. That's cool. I mean, yeah, let's do that. Give it a go. And I think a lot of groups have started to split off and the groups of people have, common values or common goals. So some people have decided they want to go down a professional pathway, right? That's completely understandable. I'm going maybe in another lifetime for me, or maybe not at this stage of my life, but if I can give it a go and give it a crack or still have a hit with some of those folks, that's really good for me. But I completely understand, right? And I think just as the community has gotten bigger, there's lots of different locations as well. So if they don't compete, then you don't really get to see all these groups come together. So there's not a lot of that mixing, right? So people, if they go to the same social group every week, they might just stick with that. So I think naturally that's where you see a lot of groups start to just stick to their own, which is fair enough. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing all over. I just think that it's just really reflected the growth of the sport as well. And so for me personally, I just really hope that the grassroots of it is community. So what really kept me, as I talked about really early on, is that supportive, inclusive nature and that diversity. Having all walks of life, all different reasons as to why you play. Don't care, get on the court and have fun. I really hope that stays as our professional scene takes off, because it's been an insane journey. Yep. I've only played for 5 years. I mean, sounds like everyone's like, oh, that's veteran. I'm like, that's not really that long, to be honest with you. It's just because in the grand scheme of things, pickleball in Australia has just, gosh, it's just, well, all over the world. It's just boomed so quickly, especially with all the large prize money tournaments. I mean, I played badminton since I was 10. I think the amount of money that I won in pickleball has been significantly more than what I've done in badminton.
You won money?
Exactly. I've won money in badminton.
You can win money.
A gift card. $50, win like mixed doubles at a big tournament and you get a $50 gift card.
That's
great.
Right.
Hurrah. That doesn't even cover my entry fee. And, we used to joke about get like a pair of socks with it or something. And it's like, but I guess, yeah, it's just, I think it's a catch-22. I think it's good that the pathways for professional pickleball has opened, and there is, all that incentive there. But also, I do have a little bit of worry that it's growing too fast, and that we might lose some of those core values of Australian pickleball.
Well, you're spot on. Coco often references Jen Rammer-Murphy, and she has made it abundantly clear that we were sprinting before we could crawl. So the Australian Pickleball Scene, we don't have the infrastructure in place, quite literally. We don't have enough venue space. But things like what you're referring to, Leona, we've experienced it from day dot, right? And the community aspect is so important of the game, and hopefully it does remain positive going forward. I am aware of our time. Believe it or not, lady, it's already 10:30. So we've been rambling. It's been very good. We're going to continue, though. So getting people into the space, that community-driven aspect of things, getting new women into the space. If you were in charge of like advertising for Pickleball Australia to get women into the sport, how would you approach it?
Who wants it?
You, Coco.
Yeah,
off you go, Coco.
Yeah, you go for it.
Look, I think I touched on this before. And look, Jen Rammer-Murphy, also PA, is very welcoming and looking at things like this moving forward. I mean, it's definitely on their mind. I think it starts at club level, like having that inclusivity that when you rock up, you've got someone, regardless of whether it's for social or not, that's really encouraging. If you want more women in space, offer women-only sessions and get a woman to run it. I know, boys, I'm very sorry. But if you want that, then women respond better initially to women. So it's nothing personal. It's just the way it goes. They feel more comfortable in the space because they feel a bit watched sometimes if there's a man leading it. Now, I'm not taking away. There are some beautiful men coaches, and there's some beautiful guys that I could rattle off that do beautiful socials. But just generally speaking, if you want more women, you need some women in that space as well, just to help encourage and facilitate and just get them comfortable initially. And then, of course, they can just flow on into whatever they want to do, would be my first off suggestion.
Good point. Any of you ladies have?
I guess it also, if you try to encourage people, ladies of different ages, you might advertise something different. So when you're young, it's building up a social network. Maybe you get to meet a man at a session, or you're just, just getting to know people.
Are you trying to date pickleball now?
No.
That escalated really quickly.
They have singles nights at the Jar, I think.
Do they?
Yes.
They run really interesting social stuff. I see it on the social media anyway, and I'm
All
like,
right. When's that? What day is it? No.
but those are really cool ideas. Anyway,
Might pop down.
And then obviously what we've spoken about, women with kids, like is there incentive to have a child play area, or maybe bring your kids with and they have a hit on another court. And then older women, it's great exercise, getting out there, maybe building up a social network again. I think there's different ways to get women in the sport. I think the women's only night is a great idea, but I think what we lack is probably venues and people to run the sessions, because I would probably like to invite more people to play, but you can't really rent a court anywhere. It's hard to rent a court somewhere just so you can show 3 people to play. Most of the sessions are group sessions, and maybe at locations that you can only go to a group session. And a lot of the courts, like Stafford and Wakely and all these council courts, they don't have a lighting system or a booking system, so there's no evening sessions.
You just got to rock up.
So I know it's a long-term plan and we're getting there, but more court availability for just booking courts.
I think that's definitely on
people.
PA's obviously radar as well, looking for that. But I think it's also important, like when you come and first play, now I don't know about you lot, but when I actually turned up at a session, I got met with a man trying to teach me how to score and straight into games. Like I had no idea how to hit the ball, let alone do anything else. So I was like, you want me to what? Oh, we're going to play a match now. No, I don't want to play a match. Like, I don't know how to do that. And, of course, I'm feeling a bit like, oh, well, hang on a minute. It's too much. I think that, like, initially, even when they come to sessions, don't overload them with info. Like, let them hit the ball. So initially when I do a come try or whatever, if I do it, I'm just like, they're like, what do we do? I'm like, here's the ball, go to town. Come and see me in 5 minutes. And in 5 minutes, they're rushing over to me going, what's the next rule? Like, let them play first. Let them experience it. Because it's like saying, oh, I want to go learn baseball. And then someone's like, right, you're in a game. Off you go. You're like, whoa, it's too much. And I know everyone loves to play matches because drilling is a swear word. But initially when you're first playing and you don't know rules, just let them hit. Let them hit. And then worry about the rules a bit later. Yeah. Sorry. Anything to add, Paige?
I think one thing I would love to see is pickleball in schools.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I think that's coming. That's
I know it's coming. We haven't even peaked in pickleball, and I've had PE teachers from my previous school reach out knowing I'm in pickleball, like, so how do we play this game? How can we teach the kids? And I was like, best sport.
Very easy. Oh, my microphone's going.
It's just like, just because it's almost a sport that kids who might not be enjoying, like your rugby, your ultimate disc frisbee, great PE sport, that they can just you can just hit the ball, like, or learn to try and hit the ball, and it's just a bit more inclusive, and all you need is concrete.
Yeah. My experience, thank you. Someone gave me a mic back because he stole it. My experience has been that kids, especially these days, and watching that progression of like decades, is that kids like instant success.
Yes.
Something like tennis now does not give them instant. It's hard. Technically one of the hardest sports to learn in the world. I love it, guys. Please don't think I don't. But it is. And it's not instant success. Whereas they could go down the road and play AFL and have instant success.
Yeah.
Right? Because they can hand pass a ball, they can kick a footy. It's easy. Pickleball is easy. And that progression, that alone will get them, because you can get it over.
Yep.
And it can go in. So that's a really good point. I will hand this back to Leona.
Being a kid who loved, getting the little award in school, I'm like, this would have been my sport. I was like, I could get an A playing, hitting with a paddle. Love it. And beating the boys, just being able to compete against boys. Because I remember in high school when they used to split us and I'd be playing softball. I'm like, what? Yeah. Why am I over here? Let's put us together. Let's compete. And just having a sport in schools where we can compete of course there's going to be people, we get tennis skills and or natural abilities to, that will be better. But having it in schools, just have the option for all kids just to play and fall in love with, and they could play with their families. I play with my nana sometimes and she's like, what is, and just having that ability in high school, I know I would have loved it and would have kept me going from university when I stopped playing sport, and probably kept my love for sport and not have that dampener of, well, what do I do on a weekend? Just chilling at home.
And I agree with you, because we should be thinking about the Olympics coming up too. We're going to have to grow the little ones.
Yeah, you're spot on. And as someone who worked with juniors for a very long time before I did pickleball, I can tell you right now that pickleball is in schools, but Pickleball Australia is probably not aware of it as much yet. So I was involved with flexi schools.
Yeah.
So schooling that was a different way of learning, and they love it. Pickleball's huge.
Wow.
The other avenue that you guys probably aren't aware of that is massive within Australia is the prison system. Pickleball is massive in that space as well. Obviously, we're not talking about kids here, but
So that's a jump.
yeah, it is a bit of a jump. It's okay. But it's there's pickleball being played in a lot of different areas that people probably aren't aware of.
It's fantastic, though.
It is really good to see. So I'm trying to keep us trucking along here. I do have a bit of an interesting question for you all, in that Pickleball Australia released stats last month that said that there's 10% more women than men in the Australian pickleball scene. We've had pretty lengthy chat already about various bits and bobs. Did this statistic surprise you?
Go, Leona.
Actually, it is surprising how much. So sorry, 10% more than men. Yep. What age group did they say?
It'd be the upper age group.
The upper age group.
Yeah.
Okay,
For
interesting.
sure, the upper age group.
I'm actually not too surprised. I mean, my mother-in-law Anne is heavily into it, and she plays in the 60-plus category, and it is that category is cutthroat. 60-plus intermediate.
I'm going to watch it.
Even reffing them, I'm like, it could be in the A game.
From what I see, they have way more pools when they do it, way more competition, unlike, playing open age category in the, women's doubles. And even their mixed doubles is very competitive as well. So, I don't know what it is. I should probably interview Anne about that. She played badminton as well, but to be honest, I didn't really play much with her. So, Vin actually played as well. We did go to some of the same social sessions, but we didn't really mix together very often. I think it's just because it's so, the barrier to entry is so low and it's so easy to pick it up. Anne didn't really have that much of a sporting background. I mean, she's a regular gym goer. She's very, very fit lady, goes to the kettlebell gym.
She's awesome.
Piers' kettlebell gym.
I'd take her as my mother.
Every day. She doesn't miss a gym session.
Good on her.
But there are quite a few other ladies in her age group who are similar, quite active, and they've picked this up, and I think they've really developed their own little community of other women and they're a similar life stage, and so maybe that's the key. It's that community there. I don't know.
I've pinched Coco's mic for just a split second. So Leona, you might not be aware of this, but Arn used to message me questions about the game of pickleball. Oh, wow. And I was like, Arn, why don't you go ask Vin? She's like, I'm not asking Vin. What are you talking
Vin, that's her brother, by the way.
Well, you wouldn't ask your brother.
So I get these random messages like about rules and stuff, and I'm like, okay, this is. So I just thought I'd better jump in.
Do you think that the 10% difference of the older generation coming into pickleball for women is due to the fact that their kids have grown potentially, and like
out of the
house,
house,
the home maybe, and then.
Well,
come through that way.
Yeah, my mum's just got into pickleball on her Monday and Wednesday. So she was a stay-at-home mum. So and my youngest sister just graduated about a year and a half ago, and my mum was a bit upset because no car rides with my little sister and didn't really know what she was doing. She'd go for
lost, right?
She was so, and I love my mum, and she was a competitive temping bowler. So but she doesn't bowl anymore, so I'm like, she just sat at home, watched TV, and she just didn't really, she'd go for walks, but she's so bored. And then I was like, play this sport, you'll love it. I took her to Paul and played once. She's like, oh, we'll see. But then she found this women's group on a Monday at Beanley, and she is there, and it's like almost like a book club. You know, you just see you get this little crew, and
it's better than book club.
Yeah, it's better. There's a bit more yapping and just having that. Almost a new identity. It's like she's not a mum. She's her own person, and she gets to rock up and just have fun. And there's so many older men and older women, all live retired, and it's given them a new life, a new community of, and just something more to speak about.
Yeah, and I feel like women do get, and naturally, I mean, I'm not a mother, so I can't speak. I'm a mother to dogs, but like I feel like naturally women nurture and they look after and they take care of, which is beautiful. And then what happens is once the people leave the nest and they go, and they move out, and then they're like, well, who am I? What am I doing? And it's so nice then that they can come into something like pickleball that's so community minded, and then they can be a part of something again.
Yeah, like Leona, surely that excites you, being able to play with your little ones. Like pickleball.
Yeah, I'm keen to see the junior development space by then. So
you'll be running it, mate.
Another one coming along the way. So by then,
got a mixed pair.
A mixed pair. Form a team.
You'll see her breastfeeding on a court near you, shortly.
That is very true. I will do it again in a heartbeat. Nothing's going to stop me from playing. So, I think that junior development space is really exciting too. And because, going a little bit further back about the barriers, I think, if we run those junior coaching sessions and you run alongside women's coaching sessions, like, a lot of mums and dads or,
I'm starting to see a lot more juniors push through already.
Great.
Yeah, because they've been watching the pros and they're like, oh my God. I'm like,
But no, a parallel session would be incredible because
they're already there to a lot of them might already be to drop off their kids,
bringing their kids, right?
The amount of times my parents would be on the side watching, and my dad always looked back, and I did taekwondo growing up. He says, I regret not joining you. He says, because I would have loved to have that time instead of just watching you, to be with you and having more fun with you. And I'm like, having the opportunity to have a parallel of you playing with Camilla or or doing sessions with her would be incredible.
And a category, a parents category in tournaments would be good, father and son, or that would be amazing.
That's why I love the split age category.
Yes.
Oh, I love that. That's one of my favourites. Actually, that's one of Tan's favourites too.
Who's he playing with at the APC? Split age.
Actually, I don't know. He's
Top secret.
pending.
Pending. Please
I think there's a couple of candidates because he did really well with Bruce.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah,
right.
They got into the finals.
Woo! Wow.
Yeah. And who did they play in the finals?
You?
Martin and Dave.
Oh.
Richardson.
Oh,
wow.
Ouch, I wonder how that went.
Wow. It was close. Yeah. It was close.
Okay.
But that is a beautiful pairing.
I'd like to see that repeated, people. I have no idea what the go is.
Oh, it was beautiful. Bruce was over the moon.
Oh, he would have been. It's so nice, that mix. That's what I love about pickleball. It should never be them and us. It should always be inclusive. And that we don't want to lose that. I know that PA's got a very strong vision about that, and I am on board with it. It's got to be inclusive. It's got to be for everyone, so that you're not looking at them going, I never get access to them. Everyone should have access. Like, they're people, and they're happy to talk to you, and they're happy to hit with you, but we've got to create that space. Yep. Shut up, Coco.
Next. I will take that back. Thank you, Coco.
Yeah.
Amazing topics, ladies. This is good. We've got another question here is, before we start to really round things up, is there an ick that you guys have at a tournament? Is there something that happens all the time where you're just like, oh, please stop? Or at a social session. It doesn't have to be at a tournament, but is there something that's fairly consistent that you see quite a lot that you're just like, please, I don't want this to be around, or it makes me feel, it's just yucky, if anything immediately comes to mind? Oh, Ellen, charging up, here we go.
I know that it's out of the control of tournament directors, because who knows how long it takes to play a game, but it's very rare for tournaments to run on time, so you're never sure when you should arrive, when you should warm up, what's going on. And I know at the last PPA, they were trying out the communication with 2 phones and watches, so you know which court you have to go to. It might be good if somehow we can start using more technology at tournaments, so that on your watch it says you're on this court at this time, instead of someone running around. And I feel sorry for the tournament directors, because they literally are running around, and KDV is a huge space to run around. There has to be a better way to use technology for those things. And maybe lack of shade. Pimpama is probably the worst location to play. There is just literally no shade. But I understand we are limited with venues. But that's probably my only 2 icks, is time and lack of shade, really. Otherwise, I think Tony and all the directors out there do a great job, and they do the best they can with the venues we have and the weather that we're having at the moment.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Not much we can do about it.
No, nothing we can do about that.
Paige, anything comes to mind?
I used to have some icks, but now it's just part of the game. I don't know. I used to have a trouble with people when they used to get quite aggressive at refs or after, and then
I apologise.
Coco, that one. But it's just sometimes the heat of the moment. I couldn't call it an ick anymore. I'm almost like it's going to be part of the game. But most time players, especially the pros, will come and apologise after, especially if it's a heat of the moment. And I used to be like, oh, why are they like yelling at the ref or going like, was that in? Was that in? You're like, oh, like, why are you doing that? Like, it's a point. But now I'm like, oh, like, that's part of the game. That's a mental like state of, was that in? Okay, next point. Like, I just need to ask this question, because it could have been in or out. Like, never know. That's their perspective, and get through it. And say maybe another ick was recently is like fake paddles coming in has been a big topic on our ref chat, and it's not the case of newer players coming in with it. It's sometimes I was speaking to another ref friend of mine, and players who know the game and know the rules coming in with fake Tumu paddles and playing, and I'm like, you're aware of the safety of the people you're playing with against, and it's not even. It's a fact that it hasn't been tested. And I just imagine the fact of a handle coming off and hitting someone, and just what do you have to do? Because it's a fake paddle. Who's liable? And as a ref, I'm like, it just scares me that that's coming in, and people are knowingly bringing in fake paddles into tournaments. Or it's okay socially, because unless the club has those rules. I know some clubs do have rules in terms of tournament approved paddles only. But I don't know, just having the ethical decision making of, I'm going to a tournament, let's follow the rules and let's be mindful of all players, and not that, oh, I love this paddle, let's wreck everyone and let's boom down, let's just do a huge drive and smash it and win this. I don't know, it's just been a big ick of, you know that it's fake. Like, let's wake up and like other sports. You're not going to bring a Timu golf club and be like, yeah, I've got this. Even though I don't know if it would work, but I don't know.
Funnily enough, tennis rackets don't. So it's the
No.
opposite. Yeah.
Yeah.
But a paddle seems to do different things. But yeah, tennis racket, if you bring a fake tennis racket, you're like, oh, this is terrible.
Yeah, wow.
It's just like, I don't want that.
Yeah.
What about yourself, Coco?
No, I'm getting Leona's
Leona.
the honest.
All right, Leona, go nuts.
I was going to say just in general, I mean, people with poor sportsmanship, but actually we don't see too much of that in Australian pickleball. Obviously, there's always going to be a few, but I mean, the psychology of pickleball really, I mean, it's easy to get into arguments. A part of me, I mean, learning the rules, I remember even in badminton, we were talking about refereeing before, right? And at every tournament, you don't have to be an official, like you don't have to go through the training to be, we call it umpire. It's the same role. But it's expected that every match that you play, you also have to, not you play, sorry, when you're off, you also help with a bit of the umpiring just to help facilitate the tournament. The games running on time and things like that. So, you know, so it was really unheard of when we started competing in pickleball and going, oh, half the time there's no refs, especially when it was the very early days and we didn't really have that many refs in general. But yeah, even the rules of like calling your own balls, apparently then I found out in tennis you do the same actually. Then I'm like, what? You call your own balls in or out? I'm like, you don't have a referee. I'm like, that's just a recipe for getting people into drama. Yeah. Like, why wouldn't you argue about that, you know? And so, but fortunately, I think the culture of pickleball in Australia, we're pretty good at keeping people in line, and people, you know, sometimes people get in the heat of the moment, but they apologise afterwards or, so I would love to keep that culture going. Yeah.
Just touching on that though, like what you said in terms of like people, you know, with bad sportsmanship, you know, I always laugh at that because people when they play mind games with you on a call is quite amusing, because to me, if they start on me with that, I just like go hee. Like I think it's great because it tells me that it works on them. Oh. It's the opposite. So generally people will play mind games with you because they don't like it done to them. So never show me that. I am not someone that plays mind games, but anyway, that's not my ick, but I thought I'd just touch on that. But yeah, bad sports is obviously, is there any real need for it? Like, come on. Like, it doesn't matter what game, regardless of whether it's tennis or, you know, you're on court, and a lot of people, like even, you know, Leona, I'm sure a lot of people watch you guys and they see that you are representing them, and there could be a little kid standing there thinking that, you know, the sun is you. You are all to them. And if you then react in a negative way, they will absorb that as well. So it's important that we are always professional and lovely on court regardless. That's not my ick. Probably personally my ick for me would be if I turn up to a social day or whatever it is and everyone ushers me to the top court. Generally, I'll stay there for one game, and where will you find Coco? You'll find Coco on the bottom court with the beginner intermediates, because I have the time of my life down there. So that's probably my biggest ick, is segregation. I'm not big on it. I'm big on one in, all in. And so I like everyone just to share around. And I think if we do that as players, then, you know, that will breed on itself the right amount of mix that we need for this beautiful sport. So
fair enough. I'll take your mic back.
No. Yes.
No, ladies, that will wrap us up for today. Just over, well, nearly an hour 20 we've been talking now. It goes quickly, right?
Yeah.
You don't realise it. So thank you to all four of you so much. This has been so beneficial to get your opinions on everything. Is there any final words you want to bring up before we close this video out? It's okay if you don't.
Sign up as a ref.
Oh, there we go.
Be a ref. If you need any support, like, reach out. I'm here.
Yep.
I can help. Like, I'm trying to get to my sisters involved to reffing, and like in badminton, and volleyball, you were pushed to help. And even though I hated it. It was like, oh, I've got duty now, but I love now giving back to the sport and helping facilitate games. But you know, if you're at a tournament and maybe you don't want to play mixed on a Sunday and you've got the time, become a ref. Level 1, you can do club games, you can practice at your social matches. Nay lets me practice with some of the games, just get my confidence up before a tournament comes. And people love the practice, because when you get to a ref match, you're like, they called the score. Like, oh, I've got to wait, and having just that practice in mind, the mentality of, okay, I've got to wait for the score to be called. Oh, I'm going to get called on a foot fault, and just to have that practice is always good. So having more refs to help our players. So sign up. I think there's a Queensland one coming up before QPC. Check out the site or email Pickleball Australia. They are the best people to contact within officiating and a really, really great help.
Yeah, I mean, you can find all information regarding the refereeing courses and when they're on via the Pickleball Australia website, as well as all of coaching sessions. As to become a coach, they've released their curriculum information. Coco's giving me a funny look. That's right, you're off camera, Coco. But all official and coaching information, please pop over to the Pickleball Australia website. Ladies, we're going to wrap up here. Thank you so much for today. It's been exceptional, very just so much learning for the Australian pickleball scene, and it's been a pleasure having you all in the booth today. Hope you continue having successful pickleball careers, and no doubt I look forward to seeing you all on my court soon on the broadcast once more. Good luck with little one, Leona.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you later, guys. We will be back live with our next video. I think I'm going to do my next one in about a week or so. And we've got a couple pretty spicy topics to get stuck into. So we'll round things out here today for our video. Thank you and have a lovely day.
Thank you, Dylan.
Thank you.
Thank you.